Deep in the woods of Wexford County, Michigan, back in 1887, two lumberjacks froze mid-swing as something impossible stepped out from the trees. What they saw wasn't a bear, wasn't a wolf, and it sure as hell wasn't a man. It stood upright like a person, 7 feet tall, with a powerful torso of a human, with the head of a snarling canine, piercing eyes that locked onto them, and a howl that sounded too much like a human scream. That single sighting lit the fuse on a legend that refuses to die. Hello, superhumans. Christina and I are doing the remote view, associated remote view. Don't want to get dinged.
Right.
Associated remote view of Dogman. And I was just telling her before we got on how when I was tuning into that and bringing God's source energy in to sort of answer this question for my cleanest read. So that's just how I set myself up. I kept getting, is it real? Is it whatever question I was asking, I kept getting no. So, and Christine, I think you said you had kind of the similar thing that was really hard to tune in.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, but it gets crazier. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it was really hard to tune in, like you say. Like when I set up, and I just kind of feel first, and it was like everything was like kind of like, what are you trying to do? Like, and I'm like, so is Dogman real? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay. So where do I go from here? Okay, I guess I'm done. I don't know.
Right?
I'm like, okay. So you go ahead and say what you did, because I think that's where we're at.
Yeah. So I'm like, we're just reviewing some of the recordings of other people. Some of these people look really sincere. So either they're outright lying, or they really did see something, or they really believed they saw something. So it's in that broad spectrum, right?
Right.
And so what was interesting, because we're QHHT practitioners, and one thing we know is that the universe, when you are communicating with the subconscious, and the subconscious is communicating with the higher self, and it's truly like working with a computer. I decided to jump on Grok and ask the question, because I kept getting the feeling I'm not asking the question correctly. So, for anybody who's so curious about how you would apply AI in this, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, whatever your go to is, the question I ask is, Grok, I am trying to ask the question if Dogman is a real creature or just urban legend. Because I'm tuned into God's source energy for this answer energetically, and by asking if Dogman is a real creature, the answer I got is no. And when I asked, "Do you understand the question?" again, which is so strange, I got the answer is no. Usually, you get, "I need more information," right? As a QHHT practitioner, but it was like, no, no, no. Sort of like your experience, like, no. It's like, what? Therefore, because we now understand talking with the subconscious mind, God, source energy, God, it's a bit like talking to a computer. So to get information. So junk question begets junk answers. And we know this when we have people under hypnosis, right? So you have to clean up the language. And so Grok answered, here's how I'd frame the question to God source energy for a clear answer. And it was, source, in our current physical reality on Earth, do biological creatures exist that match the descriptions of dogmen? Upright walking canine headed beings, that are flesh and blood animals. Now, when you post it like that, I got yes.
Right. Yes, when you post it, when you ask the question that way, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And there were some questions that, when I was sort of reaching out to some of our peeps, what are some of the questions that you want to know about Dogman? So I have a few up here that I thought we would go over because I do feel like some of these questions are really good. And I'm sure our audience would be curious. So I already tuned into these. I've got my answer.
Okay.
And Christina is tuned in, so she's going to get it as I go. So this is going to be something, going to be kind of a live reading for her.
Mm-hmm.
All right, first question. What is the true nature of what people are seeing and calling Dogman? Is it a physical flesh blood creature or something from another realm?
We kind of already answered that.
But we said, is it from another realm? I got it's flesh and blood.
Right. I did too. It's not from another realm.
No. And I actually said, does it go through portals? But we'll get to that here. All right, next question. All right. Are any of the Dogman sightings actual encounters with a living unknown animal that walks on two legs with a canine head? So that's how it's being described. It's not just an oversized wolf that just sort of raises up.
Right.
So I get that it is meant to walk on two legs. It's not, it can walk on four legs,
Right.
but that's why they call it's two-legged. It's bipedal for the
Right.
most part.
Right.
This was interesting. Where do the strong feelings of dread and evil that witnesses report actually come from? That was interesting.
Where did they
I'll
come?
let you answer it without my
Okay.
overlay, and then I'll tell you what I got.
Like, where do those feelings come from?
Yeah, some people report when they have been a witness to Dogman, what precedes the eyewitness account is that just dread and sense of evil, heaviness. Usually like if there's a Bigfoot encounter, you just notice that the woods sort of go quiet. Well, in
Mhm.
this case, it's Dogman. My understanding, the people who have these encounters, the woods go quiet, but also what precedes it is a huge sense of dread, and some people say even evil. So where does that come from?
I think that comes from the person because they're picking up on Dogman, and it's like an alert system is how it feels to me. It's like an alert. It's like because your energy is not confined to you. You actually go out.
Right? It's the danger, right? It's
It's a
sensing.
it's sensing unknown and something's coming into your space.
Right. So as the cryptid Bigfoot, which I think we can kind of take it off the cryptid list and put it in the reality list now, um, they're skittish. They really, I'm sure they're as varied as the human race, from good to bad, right? But for the most part, they either want you out of the area, so they try to just sort of push you out of the area. I think Dogman is an apex predator, and it doesn't matter if it's hungry, you're food.
Mhm.
And that sort of makes sense why you feel that dread. You feel I'm in danger,
Yeah, it's your alert
right?
system. Your alert system
Mm-hmm.
going off. It's like your body's saying, "Hey, this is not safe anymore. You need to find cover because something is not okay."
And you know what I got with that? What triggers that alert is that its frequency is
Yes.
extremely low.
Yes.
And that low frequency is what people goes, "Oh my goodness, that's demonic." I mean, that's the level. I mean, because it truly is just out there feeding, I guess is yeah, that's what I got. All right, let us see if we get another question here. Uh, Before we go any further, let's elevate your journey, personal and cosmic. Meet your must-have companion, the Energy Healing Map at mdhmap.com. Perfect for beginners and pros. It's your guide to clearing trapped emotional energies, like ancestral or past life baggage, aligning your vibration with your goals. Imagine releasing old vibes to unlock new skills like remote viewing. With a clear energy field, you'll tap into the unseen. MDHmap.com helps you heal, grow, and explore your universe. Grab your energy healing map today, clear the past energies, and align your vibe, and see what's out there. Visit MDHmap.com now.
I am so impressed with this website, how well you've done it. You know, I worked in analytics, IT systems before, and I'm thinking, wow, this is a lot of work. And the navigation and to know and just the whole mapping, you must be a very analytical person because this is so well done. So, I love it. Thank you.
Is the population growing? Is that why there are more sightings? Or are people just more comfortable reporting the sightings?
I don't feel like the population's growing.
I got it steady.
Right,
It wasn't declining, but I
right.
don't feel the population is as big as Bigfoot.
No, it's not growing. I feel like it's two things. I feel like it's people are we're a little more accepting, if you will, of the idea. So more people are willing to say that they're seeing that. But I also feel like, we're also encroaching on, we're building more and more cities, houses, things in areas where, Dogman may have existed without people being around.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of a both and. There's our own encroachment and the accepting idea.
Yeah, because they're being seen in towns, and not just like, on the fringes of town. Some people are like in good populated areas and they'll still witness them like in the center of the town. Like, how did it make it that far without being seen?
Right.
So, all right. Um, of course, there's always the question, isn't that being misidentified as bears, wolves, or dogs? Yeah, I think some of them are. I don't think every single dogman encounter is that, because the imagination can really take over, especially when you're in that twilight,
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think probably, I don't think, I can't say that you can blanket all sightings or misidentifications,
Right.
and I think when people are so adamant that this can't happen, if you are taking the position this does not exist and you are crazy for thinking it does, especially after this week of disclosure, even though it was just the beginning part,
Mhm.
if you find yourself in that position, you might not be a skeptic, you might be a cynic.
Mhm.
um all right, is there any difference between the Michigan Dogman and the Beast of Bray Road sightings? And I get no.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
I don't know why anybody would think that there would be a difference, but I'm getting no. I don't know what that means. Somebody who knows more about Dogman, leave us a comment, because I'm like,
Right.
why would there be a difference? Maybe it looks a little bit different, but I feel like it's the same kind of creature. I don't think it's the same exact one,
Right.
but
It's of the same family of creature. It's not a different creature.
yeah, yeah. Almost like there's dogs, there's Great Danes and Chihuahuas, but they're still dogs,
Right.
right?
Right.
All right. The other question is, all right. So one of the questions is, why do they suddenly disappear? Like they can be, the witness can watch them and they look like they just blink out of existence. I got a very interesting download on that one, because what I saw was that it was the brain trying to process what it was witnessing, and as it sort of caught up in the loop of its understanding of what it's trying to see, because it's not something you would expect to see, especially if you're not even just say you're not even aware of the cryptids, you're just out walking around and there it is. You would be in a state of shock. So there's the brain is trying to process what it's seen, and then suddenly it's gone. I don't think it's going through any portals or anything of that nature. But that's what I got when I looked into it.
Huh. That makes sense. Yeah, because your brain is like, I don't have a, like, I can't make this make sense.
Right. And it's almost like there's a delay, the brain's trying to keep, catch up to what this is. And then suddenly it realizes it's gone. Where did it go? So for them, it feels like it just sort of blinks out. When it really, I feel like it can move very fast. But I just feel like that's why it, quote, blinks out.
Yeah.
Let's see. How safe is it for people to go looking for these at night? And what kind of risk does it pose? Well, seriously, if you're walking in the woods at night, I think it's probably not real good.
If Dogman is hungry, you're the Scooby snack.
Right?
You are totally a Scooby snack or a Shaggy snack at that point. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but first of all, walking in the woods can be dangerous because of, there can be leaves over holes, you twist your ankle, break your leg, whatever. There's things that can happen. I'm going to say go out and enjoy the woods by all means. But it comes with risk. And usually outdoorsmen, they know the risk. But when you go in at night, you can't see what's going on if it's not terrain you're even familiar with. Forget about the predator that you don't know about. What about the predators you do know about? In some cases there's bobcat,
Yeah.
So I don't recommend going to look for Dogman. I think it's like she said, you're a Scooby snack if it's hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are going to go taking a weapon big enough to take down something like that. Because if you got a pea shooter, it's not gonna stop it.
Right.
So here's one of the questions, because there's a segment people think, oh, all creatures great and small. Do these experiences have a purpose or a message for the people who encounter them? I got absolutely no.
Mm-mm.
There's no message. There's no kumbaya moment. It is doing what it does.
Yeah.
Just like any other creature on earth. It just does what it does. Take away.
I think it's pretty cool that Dogman exists.
Yeah, but you gotta admit, you were disappointed. It was like, what? Dogman doesn't exist when we kept getting no.
Right. I know. I was like, what do you mean no? Oh, okay. But I do appreciate that it's all about the asking, because again, just proves again, if you're not asking the right question, you're not going to get the right answer. I mean, you have to ask the right question or ask it correctly.
Right. So sometimes, if you have ChatGPT or whatever, just ask it. Anytime you're doing remote view, and we all have the power to do this. It's not just incumbent upon Christina and me. Right. We just hone the skill like all the other remote viewers. Make sure you're paying attention how you ask the question, because if the question isn't precise or correct, then your answer is going to be askew. So that's our tip. All right, what we're going to be talking about next in our remote viewing, and I'm looking up here at my notes, is the Pentagon's fresh UFO UAP file drops and what they actually reveal. And we're going to be going into people are buzzing about the interdimensional beings, government transparency, and whether this is a real disclosure moment. So anyway, we're just going to deep dive into that. What do they know? How much do they know? And how much are they really holding back? They're going to hold back some. They're just going to
oh yeah,
give us here. Now go be quiet, kids.
Yeah, this is a breadcrumb. It's not.
Yeah. But we're going to reveal what's under that breadcrumb. We want to look into that bread bag and see what's down there.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to be talking about next. Yeah. All right, everybody, get out there and ignite your superhuman. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
All right. Hello, superhumans. You know that quiet feeling inside that you sense there is a power to heal, to shift things for yourself and the people that you love? Well, it's real. And every single one of us carries the natural ability to work with energy. It's not something just reserved for people who spend thousands of dollars on fancy trainings and years of complicated certifications. Those paths are beautiful, but they're not the only way. And sometimes they feel limiting or even overwhelming. That's why I created MDH Map. I've been a certified QHHT practitioner since February 2016 and a certified emotion code practitioner for many years now. And over that time, I've seen how powerful these tools can be. But I also kept feeling there was a simpler, more direct way to bring it all together. So I created this map from that experience, not to complicate things, but to make healing feel more accessible and flowing. MDH Map is expansive and direct. You simply follow the easy steps and gentle prayers laid right out on the map. Step by step, you clear specific energies that might be holding you back, like trapped emotions from old experiences, ancestral patterns passed down through your family line, that heavy heart wall that blocks deeper connections, or even energies linked to past lives and DNA that affect how you feel in your body today. The map doesn't leave you guessing. If you're new to energy healing, it also explains what each of these energies is and how they can quietly affect your health, your emotions, and your life in simple, grounded ways you can understand. You can start right away for yourself or lovingly support a family member or friend who's struggling. And if you are already an established energy healer, maybe you've been doing this work for years, you're going to love how much this map streamlines everything. So much more clearing and shifting happens in less time. And because the process is mapped out so clearly and efficiently, it feels like the work flows smoother, deeper, and with greater ease. So whether you are just curious and taking your very first steps, or you're a seasoned practitioner looking for a powerful new tool, the MDH Map meets you exactly where you are. No fluff, no overwhelm, just practical, heartfelt steps that honor your own inner wisdom. Feel into this. Your healing journey can be simpler than you think, and I'd love for you to explore it and see what opens up for you. Are you ready? It's time to ignite your superhuman in you.